Hi, my name's David Hawks with Agile Velocity, and today I'd like to talk to you about Agile team structure. I believe that many teams out there are actually struggling to achieve the benefits of Agile because their teams are not structured or are not optimized for delivering value. And here's what I mean by that. So, as organizations have scaled, we have tended to create teams horizontally. And what that means is we've created more what we call component teams. Teams like are focused on the UI layer, or teams that are focused on the middle tier layer or the back-end database layer. And so when we have teams that are structured this way, what happens is when we get a requirement, one or two things comes into play. So let's look at two different scenarios here. First scenario, business requirement one. One scenario is the UI team reads this document. And they read this document to determine, okay, what do we need? Now, more than likely, they're going to need something from the middle tier team. Now, when they go to make this request from the middle tier team, more than likely, that team has a queue of work that it has to wait in until the middle tier team picks it up and works on it. And then when they do that, they eventually say, you know what, we probably need something from the database team. The database team then also has a queue of work that they're working on. And eventually they deliver something back up to the middle tier. The middle tier delivers something back up to the UI team. And eventually we get something delivered. Now, hopefully, we don't end up starting to loop around in this process where UI says, oh, that's not exactly what we needed, and we have to go back to the middle tier. Middle tier says, oh, we need something different from the database. All along, we've got our customer up here who is waiting for the delivery of this feature. Now, do you think our customer is happy with this process? No, they're not. They're actually very sad with this process, right? Because it's lengthy. It takes a long time. The reason why is because there's lots of handoffs, there's lots of dependency management. We tend to have overhead in our organization of people that are trying to manage all these dependencies. It gets really complex. It takes a long time. It's error prone, and it doesn't lead to having the best products possible. Another challenge could be this one. Let's take business requirement 2 here. And let's say each team reads the document, right? So in this scenario, everybody's reading the document, and the document says we need a shape. And so the UI team says we know what a shape is, and middle tier says we know what a shape is, and database people, they think in cylinders, right? So they're like, we know what a shape is, and everybody goes along working on this project, until we get to the end. And then at the end, we try and integrate all of these pieces. And do you think this goes smoothly? Right? No, this doesn't go smoothly at all. We get to the end. Everybody thinks the project's green until we get to the end, and all of a sudden we go red because all of a sudden we're banging our heads against the wall because everything didn't align in terms of our understanding, and we find out too late. So we start trying to do things where we're integrating more often, trying to share when we have this type of structure. But here's the thing. This structure is focused and optimized for what we call output purposes, right? It's optimized for us to deliver as much UI code and have resources that are working together, middle tier database, right? And so when we think about like in scenario 1 where we were delivering this thing and you had the database team down here, how well in scenario 1 up here with business requirement 1 as we were going through this process, how well do you think the database team actually understood the business requirements? Right? Probably not at all. But they're building us the best damn database architecture, right? That's their focus. Their focus is on output of database code, or the middle tier team is focused on output of middle tier code. But what we really should be focused on as an organization is not just output, but achieving outcomes. right? We're trying to deliver value. We're trying to deliver as much value as possible. And in this structure of horizontal teams, we're not actually optimized for delivering value. We're just optimized for delivering stuff. And there's a scary stat in our industry that says 64% of the stuff we deliver is rarely or never used. We're delivering a lot of the wrong stuff. We're optimizing for the wrong thing, which is getting more stuff, but we're getting more of the wrong stuff. And so what Agile argues for when we say cross-functional feature teams, what we're talking about is we want to form teams vertically, right, that cut through all these layers of the cake, and we want to deliver value every sprint. And that means we also have to break our work down in ways, instead of creating a user story that says build the database tables for the shopping cart, what we really want is to build a little bit of the shopping cart, add items to a shopping cart. Later sprint will deliver, remove items from the shopping cart. So what we're focused on is trying to deliver, we want teams written this way, or organized this way. We want our user stories. We have this thing called INVEST in the acronym, and part of that means independent, valuable, and testable. We want stories and the things that the user stories and the things that people or teams are working on are independent, valuable, and testable. That means they have user value, that they have, each thing is testable from a user perspective, right? This thing down here that was build the database tables for the shopping cart, right? That's not testable, right? We could verify it meets a design spec, but we can't verify that it's actually solving the user's problem until we have integrated with these other pieces from the UI and from the middle tier. So it's not independent, they're highly dependent on each other. And the argument in Agile is let's put the people together on the same team that have these dependencies, so the dependencies are the people are close together, they're working really close together, they're getting things done, and we're simplifying the communication path by putting the dependent parties on the same team. And the argument is, though the people vertically here, they need to coordinate all day, every day. The people like the database, let's look at, like, we have the database people that might be on different teams here. Those people still need to coordinate, but they don't need to coordinate all day, every day. We may create a community of practice for those database folks to continue to stay in sync, make sure we don't have, we don't want to end up with 5 different database architectures, but we can do that with less often communication, where we want to organize teams focused on outcome and focused on value delivery. Thank you.